Hey guys, so a player named Ava sent me a replay of them going up against the very hard AI, and they said that even though there are already a lot of instructional videos against very hard AI on YouTube, they thought that it would be a good opportunity to make an instructional video for how to go against the very hard AI on YouTube, and this this game, the versus AI games are close to my heart because for a really long amount of time, I did not have the internet connection capabilities that would allow me to play multiplayer. So I would just binge watch Tom0AD's YouTube videos of the multiplayer games, and I would play against the AI for like months and months and months. For like the first like year and a half that I played 0AD, I would on and off, I would go on like week-long binges where I would just play against the AI. And I always would play against them on very hard. Sometimes I would play random, sometimes I would play what do you call that? Defensive, sometimes I would play offensive. But either way, it gets kind of monotonous playing against the AI after a really long time. So let's get into it. They sent 6 women out of the Civ Center and they sent them all onto food. They also sent their initial 4 women onto food. I would say personally this is kind of too much food to start out because you really need to grab a lot of wood in the very beginning in order to keep up with building houses and then eventually farms. I guess slightly less important on this biome because you can have women on the trees for a really long time. And a lot of times there's additional trees, like there's some over here that they could build a farmstead and get. So they won't need to move on to farms for like the first like probably like 10 minutes of the game almost. And on top of that, you have a bunch of elephants right here. And okay, only peacocks over here. So you have 3 elephants, so that's going to be a huge bunch of food coming in. So if I had these elephants on starting close to my Civ Center in a game, I would actually send everybody onto wood to start off and train 3 cav and have the calves start taking out the elephants. Well, start with the chickens and then start taking out the elephants. And those 4 cav on elephants are going to be enough. So all you'll need is like maybe 4 women working the berries, and then you could put everybody else onto food or onto wood. And that would allow you to boom like way faster in the beginning. The elephant maps are crazy because they can, if you just train like 5 to 10 cav to hunt the elephants in the first couple minutes of the game, you can boom so fast. But if you're doing that, it's important to, other than a few women gathering berries, it's important to put all of your extra women onto food or onto wood and like not start the farms yet, because in order, since you're having all of that food coming in, you're going to need an equal amount of wood coming in to build houses, military units, etc., etc. So if you're getting all that extra food, you only need a couple women on berries, and then let your cav take care of the elephants. But that's immaterial because in this game that we're looking at, surprisingly, he isn't going for. Okay, so just as I said it, he started going for the elephants. But if he's not careful, he's going to get this camel archer kill because it's going to take a very long time for that one camel archer to kill this elephant. He should have just waited until these extra 2 came out, and then, okay, I see, he got his slingers to help with the elephant. So just as well. So it looks like he's luring the elephants to his, well, not quite. What you can do if you have a single camel or a single slinger is you can lure the elephants really close to your Civ Center or a farmstead, so they have almost no distance to walk. But this is fine. This isn't a huge distance. So he's got 3 more camel archers coming out. I hope he knows that they're... Okay, so there's 2 more elephants up here. So he is going to have... There might be 3. I don't see... Okay, yeah, no, these are peacocks. So, or is there... Yeah, there's 3 more elephants up here. So he's going to have a good source of food for a while. So I hope what he does is when he starts training female citizens and when he starts training more of his slingers and or pikemen, I hope he sends the majority of them onto wood in order to keep up with the food that he has coming in. So he is keeping up really well with his house building. He's playing as the Ptolemies. They have those cheap houses. So that's really cool. I'm curious whether he played offensive or defensive or balanced for the AI. That's something I'm really curious about. He did get the berry upgrade, which is good, and he's building another farmstead over here by these berry trees, which is also going to be really good to grab these elephants and I guess potentially these peacocks too, even though peacocks have like very little amounts of food to them. But they are a lot closer to the elephants, so there would be no point in like not getting them, you know. So let's see. He has that's interesting. This is a farmstead. So he has slingers gathering. See, this is pointless. Because look, he's floating such a ridiculous amount of food, and he has no wood. All of these slingers should definitely be over on this wood line with these people collecting wood, because sure, you can have like a shit ton of cav like booming up your food like really, really fast in the beginning, but if you don't have the wood to back that up, all of that food is going to be useless, and you're just going to end up trading it at the market and getting way less of whatever other resource. His population. Okay, so he's at 35 in 6 minutes, so his population could be at, I would say, about 100 right now, if he had kind of balanced the food for the wood. And it looks like he is housed as well, which is really bad. He needs to build some houses. And, yeah, he has 5 women getting ready to come out of the Civ Center. What I would do in a game with this much hunt around, I love this biome, because the only thing that's a real pain in the ass about this biome is the fact that it's really hard to actually find a spot to build a lot of your buildings later in the game, because there's so many freaking trees around everywhere, which is great because you have basically infinite wood. You have so much food with all those extra elephants. It's ridiculous, you know? So it looks like the AI are so... Okay, so I thought these... I thought they were collecting... they would be sending some people. I guess he's playing with the AI on possibly defensive. Sometimes the balanced AI, they don't send in their... what was I going to say? They don't... they usually send their first attack around 9 minutes in, but the AI is ridiculous. Like, there's no reason these people should be... First of all, he has soldiers on... The AI has soldiers on berries, which is completely inefficient. And then on top of that, they're walking like half the map just to get these berries when they could just be working the farms at this point. So... But that's the AI. I'm not going to focus on the AI so much in this game, because if you want to find out how the AI plays, you just kind of can play a game against them. We're going to be focusing on his strategy in defeating the AI. And, yeah, he's up to 45. So a good rule of thumb is 10 population per minute for the first 10 minutes. If you can keep up with that, then that's like a good milestone to set for yourself as a 0 AD player. Because if you can keep up with that, you can definitely beat the AI. You can, and you could hold your own against a lot of like mid-level players if you have that initial boom going. But on a biome like this, I'm sorry to say it, there's so much wood and there's so much extra food, what with the elephants, that realistically he should be up to like 130 right now. But yeah, he's on 44, but the crazy thing is he is beating the AI. The AI are somehow only on 40, which is surprising, because I always remember the AI being able to produce people a lot faster than this, especially on very hard mode. But okay, so he has a little battalion of people over here, and I guess he may be sending them to attack, but one thing that's a problem is he has 2 women in with them. You should never send your women into battle. So let's see, is he going to kill this cav who's hunting right now? Yes, okay, so he kills the AI's cav. Okay, that's interesting. It says here that he has 9 kills, so he might have been maybe raiding the AI and I didn't notice it. So he's sending these cav with... It's a good balance. It's a good troop balance. He has cav archers, he has 7 pikemen and 9 slingers. So that's a really good mix of meat shield plus ranged units. So it looks like he killed 3 of them, and okay, so now he's going into battle. And he's letting the AI's troops kind of trickle out towards him a little bit at a time. Now, is he producing at the same time as he's battling? Yes, he's going on to phase 2, and he has a bunch of units queued up. He should definitely be moving on to farms soon. Well, he actually never bothered to collect these berries. That's interesting. So it looks like he's doing good against the AI's troops. He's already brought their population down to 26. I'm going to go ahead and put this on insane. Okay, so it looks like he's sending everybody back. I think he's satisfied with that amount of kills. Or maybe he's going to go in a little bit more with the camel archers. Because he's getting kills, but he's also causing idle time for the AI right now. Like, pretty much all of the AI soldiers are being taken off resources and utilized to come into this battle. Alright. So, I think at this point, he's floating a lot of resources. He did balance out his food and wood intake, it seems like, a little bit. He's still got a little bit too many on wood. It seems like he almost, like, where are his units gathering food at? He's only got 2 women on berries, so he has almost no one on food right now. So his food's about to run out really quick, unless he's just not producing units. Yeah, I just noticed he's been housed this entire time. So that's really, like, if you're fighting, I mean, the AI, he seems to be doing a good enough job against the AI, but, yeah, he really needs to be building houses back at his base while he's battling the AI over here with his camels while I guess this would be considered a raid. Also, he's sending a bunch of his camels back. I'm not sure why. He's sending them back to the Civ Center. Okay, that's all of his camels. I'm sorry. I don't know what he's doing with this lone slinger. He sent them to chop wood right near the enemy's base. If he's trying to deprive them of wood, I don't think one slinger is going to be able to do the job. So he has finally started building houses to get his population back up. He's building 5 more camel archers and 7 pikemen, and he's also building 7 women. I would say that this is a little bit late in the game to be building women, but at the same time, he has no farms right now, and he's about to run out of berries. So, yeah, he only has 29 women, so he does need to have about 50 women minimum just to do the farming. Okay, so he's got a little squadron of camel archers now. I don't know if he's planning on doing a raid. He still has a lone slinger out here, just chopping wood right by the enemy's base and then walking all the way back to this storehouse over here to deliver it. He could maybe move on to this bigger wood line over here just so, just to get that out of the way, because this wood line will last him through the entire game in all likelihood. And that way he doesn't have to worry about moving troops around, later on. So it seems like he's built a stable and he's getting the cavalry batch training upgrade where you can train batches of cavalry faster from the stable, and it looks like he already grabbed the walking speed upgrade, which is a really good upgrade for, especially if you like to raid a lot and you're like a more advanced player and you're really good at micro. The cavalry walk speed is extremely good because you can outrun any enemy's cavalry. So especially against the Romans who have like spear cavalry, if you're running away from them, they'll periodically just catch up to you and jab you. And yeah, it's really good to have that walk speed bonus so you can get away from them. It's really good for the camel archers too for raiding. Like, you can get in there, shoot those arrows from really far away, and then just have your camels out of there before your enemy can even do anything about it. Especially if they're responding with cavalry. That 10% speed, it seems like a really small amount, but it goes a long way. So it looks like he's raiding again. He's destroying the enemy's buildings. The enemy's down to just 11 population, so we kind of know that they have no way of coming back and winning this game at this point. But yeah, he's just, I guess he's, building groups of camels and sending them in one at a time now, maybe? Okay, no, he doesn't have any camels that he's producing. He's producing 3 pikemen at a time from the barracks, but he's not producing anything from the civ center. This is why I like auto queue, honestly. I really don't see a downside to auto queue. The only downside I could see is in the late game, if you're trying to fill your fill your ranks with more champions and more cavalry, and you accidentally forget that you leave the auto queue on your barracks, and you're just creating archers and weaker unit starting units still, and you want to be filling that with champions. But I think a lot of the players who say that that auto queue is inefficient are higher level players, and I think they can manage to remember to turn off auto queue. It's just if somebody can give me a legitimate argument for why it's a downside, I would hear them out, but I don't really see the downside. So he's got a team of 22 camels. I would build a temple at this point and, put it kind of near the front line so they could come back, heal up, join with whatever other camels he's creating. So he's now making them in groups of 6 and in groups of 3, and he is using the auto queue. Good for him. He's up to population 122. Honestly, took him a while to get there. If he had done a few different things, if he had put more people on wood at the beginning, I think that would have been a really good idea. That would have boomed him a lot faster, and also he keeps forgetting to build houses. I mean, he's good now, but for the whole beginning of the game, especially during that first battle, you have to constantly be building houses, because if you have the auto queue, that at least takes care of remembering to queue up every single time, but you still got to build those houses out if you're fighting somewhere, because if you're fighting, in all likelihood, you're losing units, so you need to be replacing those constantly, So now it looks like he has 32 camels, and he has built a military colony over here. I don't know. Okay, so he's got some metal over here that he's claiming, and some more metal over here. So this is a very good spot for the military colony, I would definitely say. I would have maybe built it well, they do have this tower here. So if this tower wasn't here, I would say build the military colony right here, because then you get this metal, and you kind of block their access to. You also get this one. Block their access to this one. But overall, that's a nitpick. I would say he picked a really good spot for the military colony. But yeah, I would have built it just further up too, because he's already ahead of his opponent. And building a military colony further up near their base is a good strategy if you kind of already have them on the back foot. So he's got the enemy down to 0 population and not enough resources to build anymore. So we kind of know how it's going to go from here. Yeah, so now he's just got to get either some siege, or he's got... Well, this is enough units that he can definitely capture that CC pretty easily. Got him. Good job. So yeah, total score 56-54. I think Ava has a lot to improve on in terms of building houses, in terms of just getting your boom right. If you're in a situation like this map, you have to take full advantage of it, because yeah, you're going to get all that extra food coming in, but if you don't know to put additional resources on wood to compensate, that's the actual benefit of having more food, is you can free up more people to go to other resources. So yeah, in the very beginning, he had way too many people on food, and then after that, I noticed after that first battle, he only had during that first battle and going forward, he only had 2 women on berries for a really long time. So that was not enough people on food. So you really have to get your resource balancing down. That's like the number one thing for booming your population in 0 AD is resource balance. It's not about how many, partially it's about how many resources you have, but in order to utilize those resources, you need to make sure if you have a lot of food, get more people on wood, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Especially just a few calf hunting are the equivalent of like 15 women farming, right? So that like you need to factor that in when you're saying, okay, I have 5 calf gathering a bunch of elephants who are right near my base and I have a farmstead right there. Those 5 calves, like I don't need to put any other women onto food until those elephants are exhausted. For now, like I need so many people on wood to match the rate of food coming in. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell if you want to see more videos. Go follow 0 AD Newbie Rush. Go follow Tom 0 AD and Kate 0 AD. They're all down in the box below. And thanks for tuning in, guys.